All right, Stephen, it's great to have your company.
Back in the studio.
Audience
Feels like about a week since we were here.
pretty much,
Couple of days.
Audience message. This is Stephen's last episode of Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Yeah. I've got my hanky.
For the next few weeks anyway,
I've got
depending on how it goes.
I bought my hanky in case I get emotional. Just in case.
I'll get a box of tissues for you.
I don't know whether you noticed this, but when you were at my place the other day,
Yeah.
and when after we finished recording, and Jo, when she was thanking you, she had like half tear in her eye. Did you notice that?
I did too.
She got a little emotional to say, "Oh, thanks so much for helping him out." You know, like she was very thankful.
Well, that's lovely.
She even gave you a little cuddle, mate. She gave you a little hug too.
I'm pretty sure I got a kiss on the cheek.
There you go. As well, boom, bonus.
Scored. This will also be the last video show for a few weeks because
unless you want to see an empty chair here.
well, no, the great Valence Quinn from gadgetguy.com.au will step into your shoes.
Very capable.
I think he's
replacement.
nervous, I'll be honest.
Replacement.
Confident he's never listened as well.
Well, there's that too. He doesn't quite know the style.
I'm going to sneak up on him with the pre-show.
Okay. He'll say, "Are we recording this
He'll
thing?"
bag a bunch of people, and I'll be like, "Oh, sorry, mate, we were
Sorry,
recording."
mate, that's on.
Yeah.
That's official now. Wow. Just don't bag me, mate.
So look, it's likely that Val may be on the roster for the full time.
Mate, go.
As in the full time you're away. Sorry.
Yeah. For sure, mate. Yeah.
Stephen couldn't care less.
Well,
I respect that, frankly.
I got pride in the show. I do care.
Yeah.
But it's good that you got someone to step in, mate. You know, everyone has breaks. You know, the president even has a break. So if there's an acting president,
but if the Prime Minister has a break and goes to Hawaii, it's a nightmare.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, everyone has to have a break sometime.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Even presidents and prime ministers.
Presidents and prime ministers, they all get breaks. We all get
Not
breaks.
that we're, as important as they are.
I love that we're elite enough to think that.
My point is that even those important people have breaks.
No, but I think the thing that it's challenging because you said to. And not that I was eavesdropping, but you were in the same room as me. You yelled it out to your wife.
Yeah.
You said something like, I'm sure you were on the phone or something. You said to someone, we haven't had a break since
14 years.
Since before when you decided to quit news and you went to New York or something like that.
That's right.
And so like that's the life of a small business, self-employed individual.
Yep.
I got a week and a half, 2 weeks in October 2018 when we went to America with the kids.
Yep.
We had a few days in the Gold Coast last year, but those are still times where you schedule your break around commitments. That to me is not a proper break.
That's what I've done. I think I've threaded the needle with my break too.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so I had 3 days with the kids last week. I went to Young and back, but I did that on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because I still had to do all my radio on the Tuesday. I had to be back for the Saturday for kids sport, and we moved our stuff to the. So it's not really. Yeah. The kind of break. This is a legit break. Stephen
the last time when I went, and this is before I even started Tech Guide. Last time we went to New York in November 2010.
Yep.
And we were I think we were away for like 2 weeks.
Yep.
And I was working at news, right? So I didn't have to. Other people were doing the work for me.
Yeah,
and it was when our tech lift out had earlier that year been amalgamated with all the other tech lift outs of the country.
There used to be a Queensland
used
one.
to be a Sydney edition that I edited and others, right? They made it into one and earlier that year and it was rubbish, right? And I'm thinking, this is terrible. And it was when I was away with Jo on that trip, is where, ironically, when I decided I'm going to resign and start Tech Guide. I'm going to start my own website. Yeah. It was on that trip that I decided. So I got back.
Jesus. News. Last time he made a trip,
I know.
He fundamentally upended his life.
I quit my job, But that won't happen this time, mate.
Okay, cheers.
That won't happen this time.
I've got a few things hanging on this, buddy.
All right. And me, mate. And me, don't worry. So, that was the last time I went on a holiday and didn't do any work.
Yeah. And so people can keep in touch with your amazing adventures on Instagram. Is that basically the plan?
I'll be sharing the odd photo. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The odd photo. You're prolific on Instagram.
Oh,
yes.
Look who's talking.
Oh, no, you post way more than I do.
I don't think so. You post all kinds of stuff on your Insta.
Okay, maybe I do.
Like you had your what was the one you did? The kids did the medal tally on the road. There's that one.
bloody. You know what happened?
And it was a photo of Kyle and Jackie O on the TV. What was that one?
Yeah, but they're stories. I don't really count those.
So that's still Instagram.
Yeah, it's got to be a big deal for me to put it in the grid, as the kids say.
Oh, you mean as an actual
What have you
post?
got in the grid? See, I did put something recently. I did put the medal tally in the grid because I thought it's a good memory.
That's pretty good.
You know,
in the grid is that the term?
Mate, before that, I may have put Tim Cook interview in the grid.
Maybe
I thought that
might
was
have made
worth
the cut. Yeah, for sure.
making the cut.
My grid, and let me have a look at it. Is last grid entry was it was a reel. Are you talking like a post? Or?
You know, they've ruined the grid because a lot of my reels are just in the
reels,
grid. Yeah.
My last photos were from Paris.
Yeah,
I did a
right.
bunch of shots when I was in Paris.
Honestly, there's one of the most recent photos in the grid is us at Oppo.
Wow, that was in
I'm trying to find.
That was in November last year.
I'm trying to find photos in the grid, and there's not that many. There's a lot of reels.
I went when I was at the South function. I had a few shots with the boys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, me and my red and green brothers.
Red and green brothers. Oh my God.
And then the one before that is us at DC in the studio.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. Oh, see, I didn't post that on the grid.
And the one before that was May the 4th.
I need a social media manager to look after these things and post such content. I just don't really do it.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, follow the great man on Instagram.
Can't hurt.
You'll find
Follow
him
all of
in
us.
Malta and Italy and Croatia, and
Greece. Yeah.
Is that everything?
Yep.
Okay.
So
Malta,
we're doing
Croatia,
Italy,
Greece.
Italy, and then we're on a cruise for 2 weeks.
And
that'll be Italy, Croatia, Greece. We end up in Greece, then we go to Malta for a week, and then back up to Italy.
I'll give you a hook, folks, for the private feed. Okay, Stephen's going to share his packing story, and it's honestly, I've pre-heard it. I've vetted this story. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also on
all
the
got
private
different
feed,
styles of
also
packing,
on the private feed this week, assuming Stephen remembers this, we're going to talk your packing.
Yep.
We're going to talk my argument about America on the internet because I've been arguing with Americans. It's been fun.
Not again.
And we're going to talk Donald Trump.
Yeah. What, again, about Google. Is it about Google?
No, we're going to talk about golf.
Oh, man.
Yeah, see?
Did you share? I shared that with you.
Yeah, I'd already seen most of it. Well, anyway, we'll talk about that.
That is genius.
That is coming up later this week.
Watch the private
on the private feed. Why are you not watching the private feed?
If you watch it on YouTube, go down below. There's a little link there. It's just sitting there. It's waiting for you. It's calling out your name.
What's your name?
It's calling out your name, I said.
Bill. John. Edward.
Sean. I know girls, all boys' names.
Oh,
Jennifer.
Melissa. Should I have called
Amanda.
someone? Yeah, I was going to say.
Joe. No, that's funny. When you hear, this is probably a private story as well, but it's. I remember reading something really funny, like the definition of an old married couple is yelling at each other from different rooms of the house. You know, they're just calling out their name. Yeah. Joe!
That is what you do. I've witnessed you do that. No, I just text. We text.
You call out to each other from other parts of the house. You don't walk over to see them. You go, Joe, and she goes, Dave.
I do that to the kids.
That's marriage, mate.
Harry, get me a drink. What am I, your slave? Yes. While you're under my roof, you do what I say.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that rubbish. Let's do this.
Mate. Let's talk tech.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech
Not a bad price.
with Trevor Long from EFTM.com
Really handy device.
and Stephen Fennick from TechGuide.com.au.
Episode 644. Thanks to the great people at Arlo and Netgear for your home security needs. Arlo's got you covered for networking, Wi-Fi in your home or out and about. Netgear has you covered. We'll tell you about them shortly. Stephen, it has been a big week for us because we had this stealth program going on, which my wife was confused by, my kids were confused by. Best thing that happened last night, and we'll get to what we're talking about, but there was a photo of 4 people, and Stephen and I were 2 of them. And Jackson goes, I don't know all those people. Who's the old guy? And that's Stephen.
You did not say that.
No, I did 100% say that.
He did not say that.
He did say that. And
the old guy.
He goes, who's the old guy? And I admit, because Jackson's met you, so he definitely knows you. So I said, that's Stephen. He laughed, and he goes, no, the bloke in the jacket.
Ooh,
Duro's been
Duro
smashed.
in the jacket. Yeah, right. Okay.
Anyway, so you'll see this on EFTM.com and techguide.com.au. And if you happen to follow us on LinkedIn, we've gone pretty strong there.
All
and
full court press on LinkedIn.
And
for sure.
we got a bit of coverage on the marketing and media publications and sites.
Media Week, including Media Week, who actually brought us together as podcasters. So.
For an initiative that is called 100% Human. Now, you would have seen this.
The logo.
A few people picked up on it and saw it on our sites before we announced it, and that's totally fine. It was a soft launch.
Yep.
But we went out with the announcement so that we could get some support around it and just generally start the conversation. So let's rewind and talk about how this all came about. Now, to be very clear, full credit to Val from Gadget Guy. He had already actually been working on this broad concept, and he's got design. What about his office? There's 16 people that work there. It's a 6-story building.
Very well.
17 car spaces, none of which Stephen could fit in.
I did actually fit in with a bit.
Anyway, well, he's got designers, and so he had designers working. So the logo and everything is thanks to Theory of Invention, Val's company, but. So he's been working on this idea. He's had this thing going on in his head, and then we're at I don't know, Apple event, wherever.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. We were in Cairns with
that's right,
with Roborock.
Yep.
It was me, Val, and Duro in an Uber coming back from dinner, and we were just having the conversation about AI. And she says, and Val was in the car, and he said we should really do something. I said, mate, count me in. And I said, because you were there, I said Trev will be in a heartbeat. He'll be involved too. And he goes, we should sort of come up with a name and a concept. And we started in that trip on the way back talking about it's a human, get the human in the name, and then Val went ahead and created the logo, the 100% human logo, and which was good. It's got 100%. It's got human, the little smiling face, and the human.
Two eyes. The idea here is that we know that you, our most loyal and favourite listeners, know who we are and what we do, and you read our website, so you know who's writing it, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. But when someone searches, we'll talk about later in the show, we'll talk about Samsung products. See that promo?
Yeah.
Samsung Galaxy Fold 6, Flip 6, and the Watch Ultra, and Buds maybe even. So when you Google, Galaxy Buds review, Galaxy Buds Pro 3 review, you random person, never heard of us before, but you might find our results there and you might read our review.
Yep.
We want you to know that it's written by a real person and was reviewed by a real person. It sounds ridiculous. It actually sounds utterly ridiculous. But the threat to our existence, frankly,
our businesses,
and to our business and to you in the way you research products, the threat to them is AI is so powerful and so amazing that someone could create a tool, a computer, that asks AI to check Tech Guide, Gadget Guy, Image Matrix Text, and EFTM for a review.
Among others.
And any others, for a review of the Galaxy Fold 6. And grab all that information, read all those reviews, and then write me a review based on all that information. Yeah. And AI will do that. Let's be clear. AI will do it, and it'll do a bloody good job of it, because it will knock it out as if it looks like a real review. But then when someone who is human and reviews that content will realize there's falsities in there, there's hallucinations in there, there's inaccuracies, there's just statements that don't make sense.
Plain misinformation, really.
And the average reader may take that, it might say you'll get a 3-day battery life out of it because for some reason it combined our numbers or something like that, right?
It's a risk. And we've all written pieces on our websites. And I said in mine, well, our reviews, our opinions, that's our currency.
Yeah.
That's what we have. That's what differs us from each other. We have our own opinions and our own reviews. And people don't understand that they think, they get all this cool stuff for free to look at. But we actually, a review means we need to use it. We need to unpack it like a consumer would, use it as our product, if it's a phone or TV, whatever it happens to be. And so that's time we have to spend using it. Then there's time, the painstaking amount of work also writing it as well, writing the review. And in some cases we produce videos with it and other content. And that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so for someone to come along and basically plagiarize our stuff, present it with a whole group of other reviews, that prevents people coming to our websites. The clicks that we rely on for our existence just will disappear. So that's why we've sort of stood together here. Between the four of us, I've said that we might not have the breadth and number of staff as the big news sites and other massive tech sites, but in Australia, between the four of us, we're probably the most read or most sought after opinions in the country.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided, let's get together, let's protect our little patch here and make sure that as independent publishers, we're not going to get overtaken by AI, but an AI maybe plagiarising our material and without any compensation either. So
and look, there's a lot going on behind the scenes here because we are all independent. The four of us that have started this concept are independent publishers. We're small businesses. We do rely on the industry. Look,
and we're all friends too. We're all mates. We always see each other on launches and trips, and so we all get along.
We're at the mercy of the internet, right? And I've said this for a long time. I don't want to be at the mercy of Google search and all those things. I want just an audience, and I want those audience to read and buy off the basis of what they read. But also acknowledge, as we've done recently, that they should read Stephen's review as well and Val's, because you read all three, and then you might make your decision. But also, we could just disappear from Google search if Google decides to start. When someone searches for, as Val often says, what's the best TV? If Google says, according to most reviews, the best TV is the LG G4 OLED. If you're looking for something cheaper, get the Hisense, 7AU, U7, whatever. And basically that's it. And someone will go, okay, thanks very much, cheers. Yeah. And they won't go anywhere to read why.
Yeah,
and again, you don't know there's reason. Like, I think about the talkback calls I do on EFTM or on the radio that you do as well. Mm-hmm. And you think about when someone says, and I think I'm pretty good at doing this. I might not do it all the time. But someone says, I need a new computer or I need a new TV. Yeah. I say, what do you do with it? Yeah. What do you watch on it?
Ask the questions.
Because it's not, OLED's best. It's, you know what? Oh, you want a big screen? Oh, well, let me use some options.
Do you like sport? Do you like this? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be those kind of discerning factors, and that's what an AI search can't do.
Yeah. So, like reviews, we all pride ourselves on our reviews because people read them. We put a lot of effort into them. People read them. They trust us, but they're also willing to spend like thousands of dollars based on our opinion. Yeah. And so I don't want that at all threatened. I really pride myself on my reviews. I say what I don't like. They're honest reviews. I've used the product, as we all have. So I don't want people to feel. I don't want to lose that trust because I pride myself on the quality of my reviews, and people trust my opinion as they do yours. And if AI can come along and kind of like reduce that trust, almost eliminate that trust, because it becomes an anonymous scraping of all our stuff, then we lose out, and I think the reader loses out too, because they're not getting the full picture. They're not getting it.
In the days ahead on Tech Guide and EFTM, you'll find a link to a literally 14-question survey, and it's not 14 difficult questions. It's tick boxes. It's check marks. It's easy to do, because we do also want to. So this is the first phase. This is really just us saying
this is the introduction.
This is where we believe.
Yeah.
We're going to ask you questions like, how many reviews do you read before you buy something? And we want to be able to show, whatever the data is, we want to be able to show why it's important that we don't just have AI reviews. Yeah. We want to get a sense of whether people want this stuff, because AI is going to exist. How clearly should it be marked? Do people care?
To be clear, AI has its place, and we are not anti-AI. Nope. AI is useful. We use it in other aspects of our workflow. Yeah. But in terms of creating the content and the reviews, that there's a blurb on your website and yours that we have never ever used AI to write our stuff for us. That's right. Our reviews for us. Never will.
People should realise that when you read something on EFTM and Tech Guide, you can imagine someone in the back end typing words.
Typing it out, yeah.
That's how it works, right? Yeah. Now, let's just talk about how we use AI. So I think of AI sometimes as someone else in the office.
Yeah, it's like an assistant.
So I did a thing. There was an ACCC inquiry into some bloody thing, and there was like 20 submissions that had been made. Yeah. Plus there was a government document that was like 100 pages. I fed all of that into AI as if I challenged a junior in the office to read it all, and then I asked AI questions. What are the key issues that have been raised by the submissions? what are the key issues the government's asking for? You know, you ask questions and then you find out these things and then you go back to the document and go, okay, where's that submission? And you read it and you write some words. You don't then ask AI to write you an article based on that. You use it to simplify your workflow because we are small businesses. We have very little help around it, all that around us. So we're using it for those things. Giro made a great point. He's like, sometimes you get these 2-page PDF spec sheets and it's really hard to convert that into a website document. So he sometimes says, hey, can you take this spec sheet and just turn it into HTML, which is the language of the internet. And it takes away all the page breaks and things. Great, mate. Copy paste. Well done. It's the same data.
So these are basically admin tasks.
Yes,
it's admin tasks. But in terms of the creative tasks, like you can. There's generative AI where you can create an image or a drawing or something.
Yep.
Which again with the Samsung Galaxy AI products, we'll talk about that. But in terms of writing, like AI can write. AI can create content. And I think at the beginning of last year with ChatGPT was announced and people started seeing the power of it. I think there were a lot of students thinking, I'm never going to have to write an essay ever again.
No, that's right.
But then the education department just jumped up and down and said, nah, that's not going to be the case. I mean, teachers know their students for a start. But they made it pretty clear that, no, it's not going to do your work. It can help you do your work, but it's not going to do your work for you.
And what could happen is you could easily set up a tech website and you could sign up to all the PR companies and get all the press releases. And you could have AI. Remember I talked about maybe in the private feed, I've got an AI that reads one of my mailboxes and then sends me summaries of those emails. So I can go, oh, that's an important one, right?
Okay.
Haven't I told you that?
Yeah, I think it has.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's not great. Like it doesn't
Did it catch
really
the abusive emails I sent?
Oh, yeah, it gets all of them. If you take a press release and say, convert this into a blog article, which would be the best way to tell AI to do it, it'll do it. Yeah. But here's an example, and we'll talk about this later in the show, LG launching on Sky News launching on LG. When Daniel wrote this article, he said, following the launch of Sky News now on Samsung Smart TVs last year, that AI wouldn't have picked that up because the LG press release does not mention that it was already launched. Like AI might think this is breaking news. Yeah. It's only breaking in the sense that it's on this platform. So that's the human element to a story like that. It's just that little, here's this extra bit of information. For sure. And that's all we're trying to do is raise the awareness of that kind of issue.
It's about, the word is transparency.
Yeah.
We want, if I think you as a reader, a listener, a viewer, I reckon we're all entitled to know that what we're looking at or reading or hearing, whatever it is, is it real? Is it AI? Was AI involved?
Yeah.
That's going to be the big thing moving forward. If we set the standard now and say, right, this is how we think it should be, that transparency will hopefully spread it. And 100% human, the four of us kick that off, but it's open to any other website who wants to take that logo.
Yeah.
Because I think the more people see that there's real work going on these websites and other platforms, then the better it is. I think, and the reader, we owe them that to know that what they're reading is genuine.
Yeah, we think that this will grow into just a nice acknowledgement of human content, a way to identify companies that stand by human content. And look, we're not challenging other companies to say you should not use AI. That's your own decision. Yeah. And we know of at least one Australian broadly tech but very back-end tech website that is looking to use AI. Good luck to them. They're barely read anyway. It's very industry-based. Yeah. But I don't think that's a good thing for the reader. I think the reader should have very clear acknowledgement.
You deserve better.
Yeah, and that's why we've started.
And that's what we're trying to give you. Our best work we're trying to give you all the time. And AI could threaten that if it can use if they come up with an algorithm that can just go, okay, I'll just cherry pick every little aspect of your review and my review and Val's review and Giro's review and present it as this anonymous review that none of us get paid for, none of us get acknowledgement for, then I've got a problem with that.
Because the biggest risk of that, if you're building these things, is you also grab something from, Tech Radar, which might have a .com.au domain and it might add an Australian price, but it's an American reviewer. Yeah. And is it the same product? Does it have the same frequency bands? Are the specs the same? is the launch date different? There's so many things that can go wrong. And we hear this because people read international stuff and tell us that something's happening. We're like,
why is it so expensive? So that's the Australian price?
Yeah. So there's a lot of those potential issues going around, and that's why we think this is a really important initiative, and we hope that you can support it in that way. And we do. It's a weird thing. People look at us and go, what are you promoting Stephen's website for? Because I don't care. I expect,
we help each other, mate.
I frankly expect that my readers will read Stephen's review of a product as well.
Yeah, likewise.
Because you're
the
mad
rising
if you don't.
tide lifts all boats, we say.
Yeah, but you're also getting a bunch of information before you make a purchasing decision.
Like my theories and opinions and reviews are different to Trevor's.
Yeah,
and vice versa. He has different approach and different. He has a different opinion. And he likes things that I don't like, and vice versa. You've heard that on this show for 13 years.
Yeah,
there are the things we don't both agree on, but there's a lot of things we do.
So well done, everyone. Thank you to Giro and Val, Stephen, for getting involved. It's a great thing to see us together, and we've got a great response from the industry about it. And hopefully it leads to really just a good awareness of where AI can go. And let's just, final reminder, we like AI. We are not anti-AI. We just want. There's a whole separate conversation.
It has its place.
There's a separate conversation which will come down the track, which is we also think that we could play a role in the conversations with government and industry about how they build these things. Yeah. Because I heard a story yesterday about Google working on something that allowed you to basically just generate an article with complete ease for Google News. And it's like, hang on, what are you doing? Yeah. And so Google is a risk. Australian government not legislating certain things is a risk. So
the problem there is misinformation. You said the hallucination and everything. That's the problem with misinformation. People read this and they assume it's right, assume it's real.
It's bad enough that there's real people on TikTok saying things they believe and it's being taken as real without any basis of fact-checking. So let's just narrow it down and identify very clearly 100% human. Never thought I'd need to identify as that.
Yeah, I am a human, believe it or not.
I identify as human.
I identify as human also.
My pronouns are 100% human.
That's one pronoun, mate.
100% and human.
And human.
You pick one.
100% human.
Yeah,
all right.
/human.
Good one.
We should add that.
That's a new pronoun. I'm human. Are you male or female? No, I'm human.
Yeah. Probably not a discussion we need to get into right now.
Maybe not. But you get the deal. You get the drift. Although I did hear you mention, sorry, before we finished, there was one other. It actually came up the day we were all together, and we got a video coming up too, by the way, haven't we? We're going to have a video. And I think Val shared this story about a voiceover guy who some company had just cloned his voice and just used it to all their voiceover work, and he could do nothing about it. Yeah. He just put him out of work.
It's wild.
And they could just use this AI to create stuff using his voice.
I just didn't have time to run Stephen through AI, and also I didn't have time to type all the stuff I wanted him to say next week.
Mate, I got a unique vocal signature. Very hard to copy that one, I reckon.
Was that a challenge?
No. Well, look, I'm just saying it's another example. You've seen all the deep fake stuff as well. It's all out there. It's out there. We've just got to know what's real and what isn't.
All right, you can read more our own. It's not a press release we publish. It's just our own views, and wildly, we publish them within like an hour of each other.
Yeah, that's right. We're all in sync.
Techguide.com.au and EFTM.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by Arlo, and you know what? Arlo have just moved past 4 million global subscribers to Arlo Secure. So it's one thing to have the Arlo products, which are great, but having Arlo Secure really ties them all together, and I think makes them easier to use and more useful. And part of the Secure plan is having 30 days of video and event storage, so up in the cloud. So if there was a recording on one of your cameras, you could go up in the cloud 30 days later and still find it. So that's one advantage. The other advantage is having smart notifications. So if there is a person, an animal, a vehicle, or what's the other one? Or a person,
animal, vehicle, package.
On your camera, it'll say that there's a package or a person or a vehicle or an animal. You can also set different zones on where you want your movement detection to come from. So if you have maybe the camera might point to the street or some trees, you can say, no, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at this my front yard where a person would walk or an animal or someone would be. These are just a couple of the benefits of having Arlo Secure. Plans start, I think, about $7.99 a month. So
Mate, it's great value.
A couple of cups of coffee is the price you'll pay to having all this security in the cloud and all those smart notifications. It'll make your home more secure, give you more peace of mind as well. Check out not only the range of Arlo products, but also those plans at arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
I am thoroughly in the Olympic spirit. Like thoroughly.
How good are we going?
Yeah, pretty good.
It's pretty good,
And I'll express some more views on that in the private feed. But we're doing very well because we always do pretty well in the swimming. So
we always
first
punch
week's
above our
always
weight.
good.
Yeah, first week's always
a cracker.
Yeah. Track and field, then, yeah.
But I was reflecting this week on the radio about how, as a kid, even when you were a kid, when the Olympics were on, you turn on the TV and you got what was on.
Yeah.
It was just...
get what you get.
You get what you get and you don't get upset. We didn't know what else. We didn't even have the internet to tell us what other events there were. You just had the newspaper to see results and things like that.
Oh,
so
I know about that. Yeah.
I think the best example of that is imagine you're the family member of a judo competitor.
Yeah.
And there's you're not a medal chance. You make it. Maybe there's 3 rounds and you make it through to the second round. You don't make it to the finals, right? But your family don't know what happened until you call them or whatever. They might read your name in the paper.
Yeah.
Today, I think it is overwhelming how amazing it is that you can, firstly, for free on television, there's 2 channels and they're 24/7, so that's amazing.
2 or 3?
2. There's 9 and 9 Gem, and 9 Gem is like 16 hours a day, I think, not 24.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's 9 Now, the app on your TV or your app or whatever,
I've been smashing 9 Now.
Free content, ad-supported, lots of stuff there, lots of like live content there.
Yeah, it's really well laid out.
And then
really
Stan, I think they have nailed it. Stan's done the best job because it's up to 4K. Most of the content is in 4K.
Yeah, nice.
And it's ad-free because you're obviously paying for it.
Free, yeah.
And, mate, every night after dinner, after I did it the first night, Victoria's like, can we put the Olympics on? I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. There's no Aussies yet, but it doesn't matter. So we turn on Stan. Here's how we do it. We turn on Stan, we pick anything, we just press play. So you're on the badminton. And then when you're on Stan in the badminton, you arrow down, and the first 4 boxes of live content will be other badminton, and then there'll just be other sports.
Yep.
So let's say you scroll across and you go, I'm going to go table tennis.
Yep.
And then you're watching table tennis. When you arrow down, it automatically goes, here's the other table tennis, and then all the other sports.
Yep.
And mate, there's I think at some points there's up to 40 live feeds. Wow. Right? Mate, I've watched judo, archery, badminton, table tennis.
I've watched the BMX.
You name it.
The gymnastics. When Simone Biles came on, that wasn't on. Channel 9 had like an Australian. And I thought, I actually had in my office, had the TV on one channel, 90, another 9 channel. I had 9 Now and Stan on my computer and on my other monitor.
Mate, all I can do now as someone who worked in this space is think about how you would do the next one, right?
Wow.
Well, I remember
raised the bar,
I remember playing the Soccer World Cup at SBS and having ideas for social sharing. I remember being at 2GB planning radio coverage. But now I'm thinking, okay, so we got to have Vision Pro so I can have, stuff everywhere. I can just look around and see sports, right? Plus, the biggest miss here, and I get why this is split screen. Now, obviously, most TVs don't have the compute power to do split screen. You don't use KO, so you wouldn't know. But
with 4K as well,
No, it doesn't matter. HD is fine. But on Apple TV only, with KO, you can do 4 screens of anything live at any time, right? Yep. So imagine I had an Apple TV on my 100-inch TV. I've got 4 50-inch live feeds.
So you can watch the 4 different sports.
That has to be...
You can't do that now.
No, you can't do that. That has to be the goal for 2028 Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, wow.
That's got to be the goal. Because I'm now thinking, can I bring a couple of TVs home so I can put them in the lounge room so that I can have 3 things going? Because I do want to watch multiple things.
Me too. Well, that's what I did at home. I had 9 channels and Stan and 9 Now on my computers.
Yeah. But I think the great thing is it creates this vibe. So my kids, they're doing the street medal tally, which is fun, and they're following the Aussies and they're excited about that. But we're also just watching sport. Yeah. So we're like watching. It was funny last night. We were watching the archery, and I don't know who was arching, but some other country, right? Not an Australian. Yeah. And we're just watching. It's unbelievable, their concentration and all that kind of stuff. And then
the big bows.
Victoria sits there and she goes, like, these people never go outside the yellow because it's yellow in the middle, then red, and then poof, next bloke red. And we lost our mind as a family. We're just laughing. It was hilarious, And plus, it's fun. Like we look at the names in the swimming pool, and you just have jokes and you have fun, and it's a real family. I got to tell you, I can't remember. I can't remember a time when we have sat around as a family.
Well, that's nice.
And just watched something and had fun.
And just I think just the randomness of it too. Like you would never normally watch archery or trap shooting or
badminton,
all these other sports.
That's wild,
but
by the way.
When you're and I often think, okay, I like this. I'm going to watch this outside the Olympics. I'm going to be.
You never do,
and you don't. You're right.
No,
but I really enjoy the fact that like with 9 now, I loved how you can like I was where was I? I was charging my car somewhere. I had like 20 minutes to kill. I pulled out the Fold 6, had it open on my in the car, and it gives you a progress bar of like how far into that event they are. Yeah. Whether you want to watch live, start from the beginning, and I was just scrolling to all the different events I could watch.
Yeah,
we're just spoiled for choice. It's too hard. It gives me FOMO. I'm thinking, if I watch that, I'm going to miss all this other stuff. I'm thinking, which one do I choose?
Well, it's funny because I've been doing a thing every day about which Aussies are in action, and so you can kind of just follow them and them only.
Yeah.
And there's not that many, so you can really get away with just watching other things. Like we were watching the diving the other night, like 10-meter platform diving, and there's 10 different dives to go through. So you watch the Aussies, and then you go, let's watch some table tennis. And you can flick between stuff. You can keep going back and forth between things.
It's been great. Every morning when I get the Stan email, the update, and it takes you all the highlights of who won what.
Yeah.
Because it's overnight, right? So I don't stay up till too late.
Yep.
But it gives you all the highlights and a link to watch it again.
Yeah.
And then it gives you an international wrap-up of all the other things going on. And upcoming events as well with the times as well.
Well,
so
Stan,
that's good.
so on Monday, so several days ago, they announced that they'd broken their daily streaming record. So daily minutes streamed by 24%. And that was on the weekend before we got into medals, right?
Wow.
So they broke their daily minutes streamed by 24%. I'm tipping they'll beat it again by another 50%, right? And 35% of people on Stan are watching on demand. So as you say, I missed it overnight, so I'm watching content.
And that's a good thing too, is that you can watch it, say the Olympic swimming final was at 5 a.m.
Yep.
Or the Matildas played at 5 a.m.
Yep.
You can fire up the app or Stan and watch it without knowing the result, no spoilers.
Yep.
And so you're able to do that as well.
I'm just looking
How about
for
the Matildas? So that they were losing 5-2 and came back and won 6-5.
Yeah, to Namibia or something. I mean,
It was
Zambia.
Zambia.
It's not a great result.
They got ahead 5-2 there.
Good on them.
Pretty good.
So there was a release earlier in the week from 9 Now, because I wanted to highlight their numbers as well. And this is, I feel like this was early in the week, but the Olympic Games to date, so this was up until the 28th. So this is still, this is on Monday, basically. This is just weekend numbers.
A couple of days ago.
658 million minutes of viewing across 9 Now. Like, that's unbelievable.
How many? 68?
658 million.
Wow.
Nearly 13.5 million viewers in total have watched the games on Nine's live TV and on-demand channels. And on day 2 of competition, 9 Now delivered an 87.7% share of their key demographic. Like, they're doing very well.
Those rights are worth it, eh? They're not cheap, but they're worth it.
Look, let's just digress a little bit into sports right, because this, I'm telling you, if someone could get me a transcript, I'm pretty sure I said like 5 to 8 years ago that the NRL... the risk is that YouTube or Netflix or someone buys the NRL and makes it complicated.
Remember we said that on this show.
And that's what I'm saying. I've said it years ago here. But I think that the best outcome is that, a 9 or a 7, someone buys everything, because this is the example of how NRL or AFL could be. It's like, okay, free on TV, on demand with ads and in 1080 on 9 Now, and in 4K and ad free on Stan. Like, it's... Boom. It's all there. Yeah. We don't need pay TV anymore. Yeah. But it's a big risk, because in America, I've noticed there's a lot of rights deals being done in America that are really disparate. And I don't know which sport it was. I feel like it was NBA. But, like, they've got some days with CBS, some days with Amazon Prime. So, like, it's complicated.
It's NFL like that too.
And
NFL.
As a viewer, that's complicated. We're lucky in Australia. And you imagine when because that will happen here. That will happen.
Well, it kind of happens in the NRL. You've got Foxtel and 9.
Okay, that's two. It's not rocket science. That's an understood thing.
Yep.
But now imagine the next rights deal is Foxtel gets, Fridays and Saturdays, Nine gets Sundays, and there's another game on Saturday night that only Amazon Prime gets or something. It's another subscription.
Confusing.
It's another thing. It's confusing. And that's going to be a problem. They're going to bid out.
Won't our anti-siphoning laws prevent that happening?
No, because the anti-siphoning laws only prevent the state of origin and the grand final from being played on a non-free platform. Right. And this is an example. Look at anyone in the UK. If you could narrow your whatever platform you use, Twitter or something, to the UK, they're filthy in the UK because for decades the BBC was where you went for the Olympics. Okay, you go. That's where you go. Now the BBC has a couple of events, and they don't call it that, but it's their anti-siphoning events, right? But the rest of it, Warner Brothers, Disney bought, and it's all on Eurosport.
Whoa, and you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They bought Europe. They bought the rights. Wow. Warner Brothers, Disney, I think, is one big company, and they own Eurosport. They bought the entire European Olympic rights.
Wow.
And so because of the anti-siphoning style rules, the BBC has to have the rights to certain things.
Yeah, like the opening ceremony and
maybe a few
swimming events,
blue ribbon, swimming or something or whatever. That's how it is. So we should think ourselves very lucky that we're able to get
all this is free. All free. Oh, unless you're a Stan customer. But even if you're not a Stan customer, you can still watch a lot everything. Mate,
I've watched Stan primarily because the quality is very good.
In 4K.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It looks really good. And here's the weird thing: people are a bit confused by why Nine's not using the same commentators as Stan. Well, they're two different organisations. So the Nine commentary team is not on Stan.
Okay.
But the Stan stuff is frankly just plug and play. So at an Olympics, there's a broadcast team, and they film everything. They provide all the cameras. They also have a commentary team in English and Spanish and Italian and everything. And so on I don't know who the commentator is in the swimming, but it's a bloke. I think his name's Craig because he says Craig. Anyway, so Craig is the commentator, and it's Nicole Livingston.
Yeah.
She's the co-commentator. Oh my God, it's Nicole Livingston.
Yeah.
And
so the official Olympic, like the
they're
broadcast,
the world feed.
Right.
And that's what Stan shows.
So that's just to be clear too. So Nine wouldn't have taken any cameras over because they just take their feed. So all the cameras are all supplied by the Olympics.
That's right.
And that's what they pay
for the actual sporting events. It's all, but they've like every single Today Show cameraman is in Paris
events,
for the interviews and on the street and all that other stuff. And they built if you're nerdy into it, have a look at. I think the Today Show did a walk around with Carl. Yeah. They built a studio which is basically the size of this room. It would be smaller.
Yeah.
And it's got this amazing gaming engine that powers all that. Because when they zoom out from Carl and Sarah, it looks like it's a big room.
Yeah.
It's a container. It's a shipping container.
Really?
It's tiny.
Wow.
Yeah. So at the Trocadero where you overlook the Eiffel Tower,
yep.
they built a 4-level building there, the IOC or the broadcasters, and there's 4 levels of just these big windows, and everyone's got that same view.
Same with the Eiffel Tower.
Everyone's got that same view.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's impressive. Yeah. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's the most accessible Olympics we've ever had. And people say, you work for Nine. I don't work for Nine. I can say whatever I want. Yeah. I just think it's amazing that we can go, yes,
click,
no. Yeah. Like some mornings I'm like, I'm going to listen to Hadley call this on the radio. Or some mornings I'm like, I like taking the international feed.
I've heard him too myself. Yeah, he called in the swimming.
Yeah. It's amazing. No, I'm really, it's fun. It's real good fun.
And mate, it's been a really good game. So I've enjoyed it. A couple of little hiccups. What did you think of the opening ceremony?
I didn't watch it because I don't care about the ceremonies, but it looked absolutely rubbish.
It looked okay. A couple of controversial things.
I tuned into the replay and saw Celine Dion sing, and that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know what she was singing, but it was unbelievable.
Yeah, she was singing in French, mate. And Lady Gaga, not bad. But there was the fact that it was not self-contained in a stadium. That really put the whole element of chance.
Punters on the streets were filthy.
Yeah,
they bought tickets and they saw people go past.
People going for free. Yeah. But it was raining too. It was pouring rain the whole time.
There wasn't even a cover over the commentary spots.
Yeah, I know. They were soaking wet there. I know. Yeah. But that's what happens when you take it outside the stadium. And it'll probably be I reckon other cities will do the same. They'll broaden the whole. Because this showcased the city, really, didn't it?
Well, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking Brisbane's a big risk for 2032, right? What are they going to do? Like, what are they going to do, right?
What about the Seine River being too dirty for the triathlon?
Have you seen the drawings of the Brisbane Stadium?
No.
The old QE2?
It's small. It's probably one of the smallest Olympic stadiums.
It looks like Redfern Oval on a good day.
Don't bag Redfern Oval.
But here's the thing. Sydney was done in 7 years. Because remember, it was 1993 when they said
I remember,
Sydney.
mate. I was up.
Well,
I was up at 2
I
a.m.
was in year 12, right? I remember getting up
you
for
were
it.
still at school. You're making me feel old. Okay, I was working at the Telegraph. Quick story. I was working at the telly. We started work at 2 a.m., right? And this is back in 93, right? So this is before we were fully computer pagination.
Yep.
We still had what they call bromide. So every page was sort of pasted together and then photographed and sent out.
Yep.
So here's what we did. What we used to call the comp room, the compositors room. Down one side of the room was every page if we won the Olympics.
Yes.
And down the other side of the room was if we lost the Olympics. So there were two versions of the newspaper. And the minute Juan Antonio Samaranch and the winner is Sydney. Everyone went nuts and they went, right, that's the one, go print. And they started printing that paper like dead set 30 seconds after he said yes.
Yeah, wow.
And then what they did, there were people down on the harbour. Within 45 minutes, they had papers in their hands.
Yeah, right.
We win. The headline said, we win.
Nice.
Still got that at home. But that's just how it worked in 93, mate. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And you were in year 12,
I
were
was in
you?
year 12. Everyone came around my place. We went down to the beach in the morning. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Fantastic.
Such a great thing. But my point is, we did that.
7 years, yeah.
We built the Olympics in 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
2032 is
Still
8 years away.
Yeah, no, they've got no idea. Yeah.
I don't know Brisbane's got it in them, but
Yeah.
I think
Well,
Sydney could pull it off again. Let's just take it off them.
Aren't they between governments at the moment?
Yeah.
The government looks like they're going to
Hopefully
get
David
turfed out.
Fawley, whatever his name is, gets in and they just spend big and do it well.
Just
Do
go
it properly.
big or go home, mate. How often are you going to have the Olympics
The
in your
legacy
city?
of the Sydney Olympics is huge. Like I was listening
Still
to
there
James
today.
Tompkins in the rowing.
Yeah.
They're still using the rowing joint out there for training and all that
course,
kind of
mate.
stuff.
Of course.
Like the Homebush is an absolute mecca.
A core stadium is South Sydney's home ground now.
Yeah, the showground uses all the venues that were built for that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So
and they've
it
got
right.
a big swimming centre out there, aquatic centre. They've also got they've got like hockey and soccer and all the different
You
fields
do it
out
right.
there.
You do it right.
It'll last you forever. Yeah, that's right. And no, well, luckily for us, Homebush was this massive area out there that worked well. I think it was Jeff Fay was the premier at the time. John Fay.
Yeah.
And he did I think he did a 6-foot leap when they won.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that photo?
And Michael Knight, was that his name? The guy that was in charge of the bid?
Yeah, I think so,
Or
yeah.
something like that. Anyway.
But it was happy days, Sydney. And the winner is Sydney.
The winner is Sydney.
And I think he said at the games, the best Olympics
Best games ever.
And I asked someone,
It's
an
never
expert,
been said again.
never been said since.
Yeah.
Best games ever.
Someone pulled his ear and said, let's not say that again. Okay.
So Sydney's got left with the
We're
title.
copping too much flack. Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
And we do it all thanks to the great people at Netgear. And if you're looking for improvement in your Wi-Fi, you need Netgear. And Netgear have a product for every solution, from a single fantastic Nighthawk Wi-Fi 7 router that'll improve your Wi-Fi and give you great gaming performance, to a whole home mesh Wi-Fi system that's built for more. The more is what you get, more is what you need, because you're adding devices to your network every year, every day, every month, and your needs change. We are streaming. Think about the Olympics we just talked about. The amount of streaming you're doing requires great connectivity.
My internet has been copping hammering over these last Olympics because I'm streaming like 5 things at a time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a fundamental great network.
And that's on top of what Joe's watching in the other room.
Exactly. We've had multiple TVs going at the same time as well.
Yeah.
It's
Doing very well.
phenomenal, the benefit that a good Wi-Fi network can bring to you and all your devices and the things you're doing on your network. So check it out at netgear.com.au.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Well, Trev, this week we were the product that we saw in Paris with Samsung, the Galaxy Z Fold 6, Z Flip 6, the Samsung Watch 7, Samsung Watch Ultra, and the Buds 3 and the Buds 3 Pro. Did I leave anything out?
Oh, there's a lot.
That's a lot. They all went on sale this week, and we've actually had a chance to look at some of them. Between us, we've reviewed the Fold 6, the Flip 6, and the Watch Ultra.
And the Buds 3 Pro.
And the Buds 3 Pro. So
3.
between them, we've covered.
We've got them all. Everything's covered at EFTM or Tech Guide. We've got you covered.
And so, let's start off with the Fold 6.
Yep.
I know your device of preference is the Flip, which you reviewed before that.
Yep.
I've always been a Fold fan, and I've got to say, this time out, they've nearly got it right. Nearly got it right.
Yeah.
What I love about it is, you know what? It is noticeably thinner and lighter.
I don't disagree.
I did a comparison with I'd had an S24 in a case and next to the Fold 6 without a case, and it was about the same thickness.
Well, I did an
Not far
iPhone
off.
15 next to it, open and shut, and I think it's a
Yeah.
good demonstration of
Yeah.
how it is a very thin device when
Yeah.
open.
I also put the S24 Ultra next to the Fold 6 front screen and the inside screen. And my biggest bugbear with the Fold 6 for years has been that the front screen is too small.
Yeah, it's a good size though.
It still is.
Yeah,
It's still too small.
yeah.
It still is a little bit narrower and thinner. I think Samsung's thinking here, and I'm realising now, is that if they make it as big as the S24 on the front, then A, it might stop people buying the S24, but it'll make it a much bigger device and heavier device and more expensive device.
Yes, but we've talked about this ad nauseum. You make it bigger, 5
Make it
mil,
wider. All
5
you need
mil,
is wider.
5 mil wider. You fit
Yeah.
an S Pen in. You thin out the battery, and I think you can still maintain weight. But
I reckon
good luck
too.
to them.
I reckon too.
Here's what I said. I described it as a masterclass for some.
Yes.
The thing is, mate, I didn't enjoy using it. I still don't like the size of it in my pocket. I'm a front pocket kind of guy. I didn't enjoy the size of it
I'm
there.
a back pocket guy, and I had it in my back pocket, not a problem.
But it is far more manageable in your pocket and in your hand than a big iPhone with a case on, or a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with a case on.
It was surprisingly
So that's
light.
a good thing. It's definitely lighter and thinner, and that's better. But I think the thing that makes it appealing is multitasking, because if you really open it up and start, like at one point I had a document, and I had Samsung Notes, and I was reading the so you swipe with the document here, and then I tap here and type a note, right? So I was reading and making notes. Like that's a really good use case
powerful,
for it.
yeah, for sure.
But it's not something I do on a mobile regularly. So it's not for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not for me.
So multitasking is one good thing, but also watching content on that big screen is great too. Like I had a photo of me watching the Souths game on it on the River Sen, which was pretty handy. So if you want to watch, like I was watching the Olympics on it, watching 9 Now on it as well. So that was pretty cool. And it was next to another phone. It's just way bigger than a regular phone.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of have a tablet-like experience as well as a phone experience, then the Fold is that product for you. But AI, really, Galaxy AI has really made this even more appealing to me. The features that we knew from the S24. I said at the time, I said in my review that AI made the S24 made an excellent phone even better. In this case, I'd say the same. And the form factor has not lost its novelty. I remember showing this to people. I said, "Oh, yeah." They said, "Oh, wow, I've never seen one before." And it was they were fascinated by it. They're thinking, "Wow!" And the first question they all asked, "When's Apple going to do this?"
Yeah, everyone asked that question.
Good luck trying to work that out, but. No, I think that really added to it. Like the interpreter was a great feature. The sketch to image was a great feature. The transcribe, like I used it for 2 interviews I did, 45 minutes plus, and it not only recorded the interview but also transcribed it in minutes. Now, the transcription on one was good, not great. The other was okay as well. Needs improvement, but that's the thing. They're going to improve. Yeah. I think they're going to give like 7 years of iOS updates, security updates, maybe Galaxy AI updates. They're saying that you read the small print, it's going to be free till the end of 2025.
That's just them. I've just said all along. That's just them covering. That's them covering their base to make sure that it doesn't cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like if it turns out this thing costs them a lot of money because people use it so much with the server loads and all that stuff, they need to cover their bases. But I think they're okay. Here's the thing, and this applies to the Flip as well, with the Galaxy AI. I didn't use it.
The AI?
No. Because I didn't use it. Like I didn't find a need.
Okay.
So that's the thing for me. On the Flip there's one usage.
Can't you make like a front screen wallpaper or something?
So why? I don't care. I don't even put wallpapers.
You can be creative.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is fluff. A lot of it is fluff, right?
Okay.
The suggested replies on the cover of the Flip was very useful. They were interesting. They weren't always perfect. It reads your last 7 messages and suggests replies, right?
Yep.
That's the only AI feature I used. Yep. Writing assistant, all those things we talked about ad nauseum with AI generally on phones. Look, they're amazing, but I just have not found them yet useful. Weirdly, here's a really weird crossover.
Yeah.
But I've got Apple Intelligence.
Oh, it's working now.
Very small part of it.
Yeah.
And so I have started to see their suggested replies in that kind of top part of the keyboard.
Yeah.
and they've been very good. And so I think it's the way that Apple is displaying them that makes them front of mind, whereas Galaxy AI feels like a decision to make.
You got
to press that button to go, I want to make this better. So I think that's what Samsung needs to do is go, actually, we need to, like, imagine you get a message, you open it up, and you click on the box to type in, and it fills that box with a suggested reply. Like, it fills that box. And you go, oh, yeah, that's good. Boom. I don't want to have to click a button, read the replies, and then do it. I feel like
presses,
that's the issue. Is Galaxy
intuitive.
AI is a decision to make within the Samsung. Like, it's not like this sketch to draw thing, right? Sketch to image. It's amazing. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But when am I going to remember or think about doing that?
Yeah.
So in my daily usage of those devices, at no point did I go,
found.
I should sketch this.
You got to actually dig a bit to find it. It should be. You're saying Apple Intelligence is right in your face. Another one I use too. Their Photo Assist. You know, the way you can take out unwanted stuff in your photos.
Yeah.
There was it did a brilliant job. Like, it automatically said, oh well, it highlighted a couple of people in the foreground of my photo, and they said, do you want to get rid of them?
Yeah. See you later.
It said, boom, it was great. And it turned my photo was much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty powerful. But, I think, though, that I like our Samsung's balance of sort of there's productivity AI and there's just fun AI, but also assistive AI. And I think it's a work in progress still.
I think both the Flip and Fold 6 are, what do we always say? Iterations, not... They're not revolutionary. They're evolutionary, right?
Millimeter changes in
if you've got a Flip or a Fold 5, you're not needing this. This is not for you. It doesn't matter. Not a big deal.
Unless you'll probably end up getting AI anyway.
You get some of the AI. But
remember what they do.
Wait until the 7, it'll be even more powerful, and there'll be even more AI. So I think that this is like, the thing is, when you compare it to the OGs and even the first 2 or 3 generations of both phones. Yeah. It's a remarkable leap forward.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got to give them that credit. Remarkable leap forward.
They're due, though, with all respect to Samsung, they're due for a massive update, a massive design change.
I think we've both agreed and said they've got that.
It's ready to stem. Dry.
It's like the Olympic newspaper. Yeah. They've got them both, and they just keep pumping out the one, we haven't decided yet, we haven't decided yet, we haven't decided yet. When Apple says we've gone Fold, they'll print the one that says we've got a better one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Fair call.
And they'll go, boom, here's the one with the S Pen in the middle and all that kind of stuff.
Nice callback to my story, mate. Lovely.
For you,
very, very professional. But, I think, I reckon I like them. I rate them. I would use that phone. I had to give it back, so I had to make sure my review was done. And
they didn't trust you in Europe with it.
Yeah, and I brought it back from Paris. Didn't you bring yours back
No, you didn't.
from
They
Paris?
didn't trust you on your trip with it, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no. Well, because they want it back, mate. It's due back. That's how it works here, folks. We get review units. We've got to give them back.
I did that. I did it on Instagram the other day.
I saw that too, and you reckon I don't Instagram as much. You reckon I Instagram more than you do.
The number of people who are like, you have to send them back. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, mate. I'm not Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi. Like, what are you doing?
It's funny, though.
Yeah, I know.
Don't you think?
That's one of the most common questions I get asked. Do you get to keep all this stuff? I said, no, mate. It's a library card. I get one, they return the other one. Get one, return the other one.
Yeah.
It's a library.
The joys.
Yeah.
The joys of it all. Okay, so watch. How did you find the watch?
I actually didn't mind the watch. I quite enjoyed using the watch, and I liked the look of it. And just let me put something to bed here. There was a lot of when they called it the Galaxy Watch Ultra. Okay, I addressed this in my review
because you said that they've had Ultras before. Apple
they
did?
have, yeah. They're in 2020, they were the first to use the term Ultra when they described the S20 Ultra, which was basically taken over from the Note.
Yes.
Apple came up with Apple Watch Ultra in 2022.
Yeah.
So the word Ultra, Samsung used actually before Apple did. So
I hear you.
Is it semantics? Is it? And I said the Watch Ultra from Samsung is as much like the Apple Watch Ultra as the S24 is like the iPhone 15. There's going to be similarities. There's plenty of differences, though.
Yeah.
And I found it's pretty good. There are a couple of little things misleading. The 10 atmosphere, it's water resistant to that depth, but you can't actually go scuba diving with it. Whereas the Apple Watch, you can apparently. Right. There's this whole discussion on Reddit that I sort of went down this rabbit hole reading about the water pressures and what Samsung's watch can and can't do, and you can't go scuba diving. Apparently, I wrote it. So the online chat
you said in your review that you didn't use the sleep features and stuff like that because it's
too big.
You don't want to wear a watch to bed. Yeah. So I just want to be clear. I haven't reviewed the watch on EFTM, and I will in the future because I didn't find it comfortable. I found it just awkward to wear. I don't know why.
Okay.
And my thoughts are, it's the band that comes with it. I didn't love that band on the Apple Watch either, and I use my standard Apple Watch band is over there. It's like one of those sport loop things, you know. It's a mine's one of the Velcro ones. No, Velcro ones, you know.
Yeah, nice. So you can adjust the
you can
fit.
really finite fit,
right.
and I think that something about that band didn't feel comfortable.
right.
So there's no way I used it to sleep. And so I also didn't get enough activity to get all that new activity stuff. So basically, I haven't reviewed it because I don't feel I've given it a good enough chance.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to see
about-
whether I can get some accessories to use a different band, and maybe then it'll feel
So
better.
you're saying if you had a different band, it might fit you better, be more
I think
comfortable.
so, yes.
So the other one was sort of didn't sit
I feel
on
like
your
it
wrist
pushed.
properly.
I feel like it pushed it up and out, and there was something weird about.
You
'cause
don't like that. He says, looking at his tag.
I said to someone at Samsung, was like, I said, listen, I own like 45 watches. I'm not kidding. I've got
Doing very well.
I've got boxes in my wardrobe that are just 9 watches on each level.
How I collect Star Wars stuff, that's Trevor with the watches.
His stuff's worth something. I've got watches that cost $2. So let's be real.
And the tag on your wrist, that's not worth $2, mate.
They're not growing in value, my friend.
Okay, all right. Fair point.
So I own another watch, but in essence, it's getting rave reviews. Like, it's a good watch. There's no doubt about it. Because you've got to remember, this is a Samsung ecosystem watch.
Yes, for sure.
This is not for an Apple user.
Well, that's the thing. The people that are saying, they copied Apple are Apple users.
Yeah.
And they did a copy. It's not a copy at all. It's as much a copy, as I said, as the S15 is to the S24. They're two separate things. Round face on a square titanium frame.
There is a lot of inspiration for the decision to do the product, though. You have to admit.
But it's only available as LTE. You can only get the LTE
that's
version.
a business decision.
Yeah.
If you're sitting around the boardroom at Samsung Mobile saying, "How do we make more money out of our customers?" Well, we sell a lot of watches, but they're only $650.
Yeah.
Apple seems to be doing very well with their $1,500 thing.
Yeah.
Why don't we have one of those?
Well, that's the thing with it.
I mean, that's smart.
It's ultra for a reason too, because like like whether you like if you just go to the gym and go for a walk every couple of days, then your fitness can be covered with a normal watch.
Yeah.
If you're training for an ultra marathon or you like going mountain climbing and all that, then you need something better. And so the Garmin's and all these other brands, that's the market that they've targeted with the Ultra, with the Watch Ultra, and even Apple too.
Yeah.
Those other more elite sort of athletes and adventurers can now think, okay, well, this battery's going to last me longer.
Mate,
and everything's going to work better.
It's going to work well for them. If you look, I'm amazed how many Apple Watch Ultras I see, just generally.
true.
Whether I'm watching
same.
a crowd on the TV or whatever it is, you just see a lot of them.
Well, I'm wearing mine again because Samsung took theirs back. I'd still be wearing it right now.
And look, I'm happy to put this on the record because someone the other day, I was at netball with Victoria, and one of the girls who plays baseball and umpires netball, so we know them really well. She was standing there. I pulled the phone out and I looked at something. She goes, "What?" I went, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Didn't you have a flip phone last week?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "What are you doing?" She didn't know what I do, right? And so I said, "This is what I do."
He's a drug dealer.
She goes,
he's got lots of phones.
"So what would be your choice?" And I go, "Honestly, they're all great, but I kind of always end up back at Apple." My wife goes, "He always ends up using an Apple iPhone." Well, let's be clear here, just for a minute. I think it's a really important thing, and I'm not bagging Samsung for this. This is just the way their process works. But for the last 3 weeks, I've been in the Samsung ecosystem. I bloody moved all my apps and all. Like, it's a pain in the ass. It's a 2-hour job to log back into all your apps and everything like that, right? And then I switched to the Fold, and I did that. Yeah. And then they've got to go back.
Yeah.
And what do I replace it with?
Out. Yeah.
Well, I've still got this bloody iPhone sitting here. Still got all my apps on it, so I'll just turn it back on again.
That's what I did. Same thing I did, yeah. Like
Sorry.
I remember when the S24 launched in January or early February, I used that till June.
Hand on heart, I would still be using the Flip until probably September.
iPhone launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I switched back to iPhone just ahead of the Worldwide Developers Conference.
Yeah, there's going to be a Google phone before then. I'll probably use that. That would have been, and it would have been. To be honest, it would have been perfect.
Is the Pixel Fold? Oh, it's a Pixel 8.
Pixel 8. We might get a Fold in Australia.
Pixel 8 or 9 are we up to?
Pixel 9. Oh, I don't know. Anyway,
are they going to release that before the iPhone? They're normally after. It's normally October.
I think that's why I'm going to San Francisco in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Oh, you go. Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, with Google. Nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that's why.
They're
Otherwise, it'll be
a
really, really wasted trip.
Yeah.
And I will be divorced. Anyway, so again, going back to that, I would have been on the Flip until Google, and then I would have been on Google until Apple. So it is, look, it's first world problems, folks. But sometimes it's just easier to pick up the phone that's already got all your logins.
Yeah,
going
true.
in, so.
But also too, it's what your family has as well. I know your kids, some of you are on Android,
No,
but
we don't, mate.
Jackson's got an iPhone, has he?
Yeah, doesn't matter though.
Amanda's got an iPhone.
We're all on
You're
WhatsApp.
Yeah, well, we do that too, but they're all everyone's on iPhone in my family. Yeah.
Finally, Galaxy Buds Pro 3. I did review them at EFTM.com. You can have a look. They're great. Like here's what I did on the plane on the way back from Paris. I had an iPhone and AirPods. I had the Samsung Flip and the Galaxy. So what I did, I put one of each in each ear, and then I realised you can't turn on noise cancelling with just one bud in. So what I did, I put one bud in this hand and one bud in that hand, and then they thought they were in the ears, so I could have them on with noise cancelling. Yeah. So I had Samsung in one ear, and mate, here's the thing.
Did someone take a photo of you?
No, they're amazing. They're great.
Yeah, they're really
like
good.
They're $400.
I think I told you because when we got them when we were in Paris, and I said, mate, they sound amazing. They sound really good.
Great.
Yeah,
I think they look great.
And I still remember what you said about them. Your bugbear,
the case,
when you put them in the case. So when you take
them out of your
AirPod
out of your ear,
you
and they go straight in.
AirPod goes like this. The Samsung one, you got to take it out and twist it around and put it in. Is that right?
It's like genuinely.
I think of you every time I do it. I'm thinking, yeah, he's right. He's right. Oops. He's right. Have to beep that.
It's true, though. It's true.
He's bloody right. It's annoying.
So simple, right? It's a simple thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, so bottom line,
twist around.
Music quality's great.
Yeah.
Noise cancelling's amazing.
The little lights on the blade are pretty cool.
Their inspiration from Apple is genius because I think that a lot of Samsung owners want that look.
Yeah.
And by the way, I would get silver in a heartbeat.
Oh,
they look so much better. We got white.
Yeah. And they've got the Buds. So the Buds 3 are the open ones.
Yeah, like the original AirPod style.
And the Buds 3 Pro are like
all
with the silicon
tip. Yeah.
But they've both got noise cancelling too, eh? Noise cancelling.
They're essentially the same bud with a different end on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Different end on it. That's the technical term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you come here for 100% human terminology.
That's the way we do it here.
Anyway, so they're good. My review of those are up at EFTM.com. Stephen's reviewed the Fold and the Watch. They're all up at techguide.com.au. And it's just a happy world that we live in.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
We won't talk about that LG story because we've run out of time. But yeah, Sky News is now on LG TVs, which is huge on their kind of free TV streaming. Their Samsung TV Plus competitor.
How many months after Samsung was that?
It feels like about 6 months, which sounds like an exclusivity period to me.
Perhaps, yes.
Anyway, so all good stuff. Stephen, we'll see you in 5 or 6 weeks.
Wow, this is it, eh? These are tears of joy.
Mate, see you, get out.
Righto.
Enjoy your holiday, mate, we'll keep the seat warm for you figuratively.
Yes.
And we just look forward to having you come. We'll be back together at, we assume, calendars aligning, we assume after IFA, and the iPhone will drop immediately after that, and we'll both be there. And we hope that's when we're reunited.
I hope it works out. Yeah.
I'll bring the Roadcaster.
Yes, you do.
I'll have to bring headphones as well, won't I? You're not going to take those with you? Because you'll fly back.
I'll be home first.
Oh, no, you can bring the Roadcaster. Good.
Yeah, good on you.
No, you got to go home first so you can bring it.
I'll be home, I just realised I'm not home on the Saturday. I'm home on a Sunday. So
I'll be home on a Monday.
It's going to be a tight turnaround.
Somewhere around noon.
Who is that?
Please don't be angry.
What song are you butchering right
I'll
there?
be back with you real soon.
Actually, you don't sound too bad, mate.
Little River Band.
Oh. Wow.
Home on a Monday, funnily enough, is the name of the song.
There you go.
It's a great song. Yeah.
Trevor's
in the Glenn Shorrock era.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, see you, mate.
Take care.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.